Good evening, everyone. My name is Gopal Krishna Anand, Associate Editor of Thermal Control Magazine. I welcome you to Thermal Control Magazine's interactive session on trends in energy efficient HVAC technologies. My colleague, Ms. Harsha, Editorial Thermal Control Magazine, will introduce the panelists and tell you more about this interactive session. I welcome Ms. Harsha to take over and moderate the session. Harsha, please.
Thank you, Mr. Gopal. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thermal Control Magazine's interactive session on trends in energy efficient HVAC technologies. HVAC systems is on a growth trajectory account for more than 40% of energy consumption alone in any building. Innovations is the next level of HVAC energy efficient technologies. Higher efficiency equipment can reduce energy use by 50% for electric heating and cooling system. The net zero emission of 2050 decarbonisation declaration cost effectively requires an emission reduction goal. HVAC systems are designed per energy standard codes, ASHRAE standards, and green building LEED ratings. Energy Star label rating for appliances requires less energy, which may yield 10 to 30% on annual energy bill savings. Electrification aims to power HVAC systems like clean energy sources via solar or wind energy. Switching to energy efficient HVAC appliances and equipment will save on cost. The innovative energy efficiency solution will lead to reduction in greenhouse gas emission to mitigate climate change. On this note, Thermal Control Business Update has hosted a roundtable conference on trends in energy efficient HVAC technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor and a privilege for me to introduce you to today's distinguished speaker, Ms. Preethi Ramamoorthi, Director, HVAC Systems Pvt Ltd, Mr. Aneesh Kadyan, Senior Executive Director, CBRE South Asia, Dr. Roshini Rebecca Easow, Professor Retired, Sardar Patel College of Engineering, Mumbai, Mr. Achyut R. Kulkarni, Applied and Unitary Stream Leader for India and South Market, Train Technologies.
Thank you, Harsha. Dr. Roshini, coming to you. While creating energy efficiency as the preferred outcome for residential and commercial buildings, what are essential things to follow and how do you relate it with Indian Cooling Action Plan? Dr. Roshini, please.
The thought behind energy efficient technologies is very good and it's the way to go. But my contention always is that even the best designed system works as per how well it is installed and maintained. And generally we hardly speak about you may have designed a great building, but what is actually its performance after it's been in operation for a year or two. I don't really hear too much about that. So my contention is even the best designed technology or the best designed building, does it really deliver? This is always my question to everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Roshini. Mr. Aneesh, would you like to add to it?
Yeah.
So, Dr. Roshini, I think to answer your question, maybe we are the people who actually do what you hope people will do. I'm part of CBRE, which is a real estate services company, and we actually manage buildings. So once Achyut and the train team install the chillers and go away, we are the ones who operate and maintain these buildings. And I must agree with you that the way the building is designed and all the efficiencies and all, maybe a year later, there are many reasons why it doesn't achieve its design potential. I'll come to that in my presentation as well. But it's a very important point you brought out. But as I would say, this industry is getting more professional, buildings are getting more, I would say, technology intensive, awareness of the occupants and the developers is increasing. This aspect of maintainability of buildings and the HVAC systems is improving. And I'm sure Achyut will also, I would say, resonate and saying that the number of breakdowns which are getting reported is less because the people are maintaining the chillers better. But then there's a lot to do about it. It's not that we have reached there where we should. And it is, I think, a key to HVAC efficiency overall, not just when you design a chiller, but the whole system. How is that system working efficiently? That's, I think, key to future, I would say, reduction in carbon footprints.
Thank you, Dr. Aneesh. Mr. Achyut is talking about the designs of the chiller and how do they fit for energy efficiency. Could you expand on that, please?
Yeah, actually, I also agree to what Mr. Aneesh said right now, because today, if you see, earlier the maintenance contracts were not much into practice. Today, the extended warranties and the maintenance contracts are getting extended, and some contracts are even extended to 10 years. So it's not that we just supply the equipment and then install it, commission it, and then we move away. Fact lies here is people have become energy conscious. The customers have become energy conscious. The developers, builders, everybody has become energy conscious today. So the trend is definitely changing. And one part which I always feel and which we have experienced is once we install the system and we commission it, we have seen a lot of places where the designs are modified. The designs are modified in the sense maybe the branches, the chilled water branches are modified, extra tappings have been done. So there I think we see some of a challenge coming in. But more or less on a very broader prospect, I definitely agree that the designs are optimum and it is well maintained, and we do see it day in day out on that.
Thank you for that, Mr. Achyut. What are your views, Preethi, designing part and installation?
Like my fellow panelists just mentioned, the design and maintenance is a very critical part to the entire concept of having any kind of energy conservation in today's world. But at the same time, I feel the awareness of the subject is something that is at the peak right now. And this awareness is actually pushing us towards, delivering what the client could expect and what needs to be done. So awareness and the education behind the whole concept is something that I feel is playing a vital role.
Yeah, that's nicely said. Education and awareness is the first thing that substantiates Dr. Roshini's statement also. Mr. Aneesh, you are talking about the buildings. Generally, we look individually at a building and all its systems like electricity, heating, plumbing, etc. So what benefit does bring energy efficiency gains if the entire building is taken into account and viewing its systems holistically?
I think that's the right way to do it. And if you see all the latest certifications which are now in vogue for the last maybe 5 to 10 years, lead existing buildings, IGBC, your EDGE certifications, they all talk about the whole building, and that covers many other aspects as well, waste, water. So energy is of course a major component of it. So it's already there, and that's the right way to do it. But then there is also, because air conditioning is the largest consumer of energy in a building, so there is definitely a need to focus on that more than the whole building envelope. There are other aspects to it, of course. Building envelope, for example, the glass ratings, your entry egress points, how are they managed? There are a lot of other factors, plus the nature of the building which is there. A mall will have a different air conditioning requirement. So those all aspects do play into it. But to answer your question, I think that's the right way to do it. Look at it as a system, not as a standalone component, and you get better outcomes in terms of energy conservation.
Yeah, definitely, Mr. Aneesh. So we have to see the system as a whole together. Mr. Achyut, Level A is the energy label system is the most stringent regulation as we know it, and ECBC was also formed to cut down electricity use. So my question is, programmable thermostats and energy star systems are a phenomena that can help keep HVAC energy efficiency on foot forward. What are your views about it?
Actually, if you look at it, the BEE star labeling and the ECBC codes, I think ECBC codes was published in 2017, and today we are all talking about the Energy Star Labeling Program, which is 16590 ISO standard. So IS standard. So here, if you look at it today, if you see, it is currently on a voluntary stage right now. It's not been in practice yet. But if you look at it, most of the equipments are now being designed to meet, not just meet, even to exceed the criteria. Because if you look at it, the norms which are being prescribed in these standards are really very, very stringent. The star labeling program itself is very, very stringent. And good part of this particular program is it has been Indianized to our conditions. It's not just the global AHRI or Eurovine standards. No, it is basically indigenized for our conditions, our climatic conditions, particularly India, keeping India in mind. So from the chiller perspective, if you look at it, yes, it's been designed, and most of the equipments are being meeting, not just meeting, as I said again, exceeding the labeling criteria. And it's not just the role of a thermostat here. Various factors get into it in terms of the energy conservation point of view. It could be the refrigerant, it could be the mechanical component, it could be the drives, many things. And one good part, what I could see from here is, we all know, in fact, we discussed in the last event as well, the VFDs are something which have been proven as one of the key leverage we have with us in terms of the energy savings. If you want to achieve the 5-star labeling program or a 4-star labeling program, you need to go for a VFD. There's no go about it. So the systems have been designed in such a way it not just meets but also it also exceeds the expectations in terms of the efficiency levels.
I think maybe I can just add to this, Pal. What I've seen is that it gives some confidence in the customer's minds as well on the product's reliability, rather than just believing on the manufacturer or on a consultant's guidance. The star labeling has also, I think, at least in the domestic consumer market, that's played a great role. And in fact, I think ECBC has also upgraded their star rating criteria, if I'm not mistaken, Achan.
Right,
what used to be 5-star earlier now is just meeting 3-star. So I think that's a great initiative. And now that it is coming into the commercial chiller applications as well, I'm sure it's going to get that same traction and give customers some more surety of what they're buying up for.
Yes, definitely. But manufacturers also have to adhere to this star ratings to be more reliable and all. Preethi, what new eco-friendly technologies for big and large spaces are the best practices to meet energy efficiency?
You are asking a simple question. My whole talk is based on that, sir.
Oh, how do I know?
Like we actually touched on some of the new technologies that's there in the market. Like if you see, most of the AHUs are with VFDs right now. So we seldom come across any kind of AHUs or any other components without VFDs. Then we have our smart thermostats in place. We have, in few places, we have come out with this new thing of sensor vents. So there are some sensors even for the vents of the entire HVAC package. And then obviously with already existing systems, we have the switch from the normal fans to the EC fans. So these are some of the new technologies for the new projects as well as for the refurbishment of existing in the market.
I will just say the cheapest technology is awareness. And that is where I think Dr. Roshini can be a great contributor right at the time when the young minds are being trained, getting them aware about basic, designing for efficiency will, I think, solve a lot of problems, I feel.
Yeah, when BW started talking about star labeling, that time I was still teaching. So it was always good to talk to a captive audience of, I hope, 60 students who are listening, and then they get aware that these are the things. And somehow, even after so many years, they come back sometimes to me and say, hey, you remember you talked about this thing and now I'm implementing it there or something like that. So it matters a lot when you have students and they are listening to you and you're able to tell them about the new things.
Yeah.
When star labeling came, then about indoor air quality, we send them out with the CO2 meters to measure CO2 levels. So they get the kind of hands-on feeling about what it is there. My question to all the rest of the three is about measurement and verification. How developed is this, the art of measurement and verification in the industry?
Maybe would you want to take it
up? That's a tip for anyone, yes.
Yeah.
I think Ashwint is also smiling, and I don't know, actually it's not very encouraging to say that it's a very, very underdeveloped, I would say, segment of the industry as of now. Measurement and verification, it's a whole subject and a whole stream in the very developed markets. Of course, it comes at a cost, and India, being the country that we are in, cost is a key factor in a lot of decisions. So it's not very well developed as a separate subject, but because we are involved in a lot of building takeovers when a new building is commissioned or when a new building is getting operational. So we are the people who take over from the projects team. So there is a lot of element around that which is built into the transition process. So commissioning is now anybody is going in for a LEED certification or any green certification, IGBC or USGBC. Commissioning, and that also by a third party, is mandatory. And because you're doing third party commissioning, they anyway have major components of measurement and verifications. Maybe not to the extent in which it is done in more developed markets, but I think we are getting there. We are starting off, not now, I would say even about 4-5 years back. This is now caught on, and all good developers are looking at this as a formal way, and that's how we are involved in these transitions. Maybe Achant, you could share your thoughts, because you're the one.
Yeah. I think I completely agree with you, because we have seen that many customers have started practicing it rigorously. Most of the customers are also going in for, we have something called ASHRAE level 1, level 2 and level 3 audits. And these are performed in a well-mannered way in order to arrive at the exact energy consumption in a building when it was designed and when it is actually operating. So the awareness is definitely catching up. But as Sir said, I think it is currently limited to few set of people. It's not been reached to the maximum audience yet. Because what happens is, but typically when it is a customer occupied building, yes, he is very much there in that building and then he is responsible for paying bills and then he'll go out and do it. But for a developer or a builder where he has multiple tenants, where he has multiple peoples, it's a challenge. In fact, in most of the offices, in our office only, when we took the space here in IBC Bangalore, we never had an occupancy sensor. Neither we have any switches to a light. So there are no electrical switches and the occupancy sensors were not working. So we used to see the lights turning on the whole day, night, round the clock. And then that's how maybe the earlier occupant who was here, I think maybe that's how he used to manage it. But when we came out and then when we said that we are occupying this building, we are renting out this building and then we are going to pay the bills. First of all, we looked for the switches. Where are the switches? And we didn't find any switches. And then we saw there are occupancy sensors, but they are not working. So we did went and then we asked them to change it. And then so far, I think the journey has come that way. But when I say this is a 10-storied building and we have multiple tenants, that awareness is still at a very low pace. But having said that, definitely yes, I think a recent study also I've seen wherein close to 50% of the people are now deciding their purchase based on energy conservation. Earlier, it used to be only the technical people, the technical people used to think all about it. But today, even the other side of the fraternity also is looking at it. And down the line, I think definitely we'll see changes coming in. India is definitely developing in that way. And what Sir said, the government will definitely make us to do this in coming future.
That's quite nice. Quite a good points were highlighted, and definitely education is emerging out to be very stronger. My last question is to all of you, it's an open one. What should be the priorities of cooling equipment manufacturers for shaping the HVAC industry?
Okay, I think I'll start first. For us, when we look at it, I think I have told this also in the past, it's both energy and environment. So for us, the prime goal is to have an energy efficient product but also meet the environment criteria. And I always keep on saying this, energy and environment has to go hand in hand. You cannot look energy in a different way and environment in a different way. You may be getting the best of the best efficient equipment, but it may not be so environmentally friendly one. But at the same, you may get the best environment friendly refrigerant or product. Per se, it is not energy efficient. So it should not happen. There has to be a balance between energy and environment because both go hand in hand. We are aware, as I said in the last thing itself, so we are aware about the global warming. How the global warming, it is cooling a warming climate or a warming conditions. It is warming up. Your global the global warming is picking up and the cooling demand also is going up. So you only warm the climate and then you only cool the climate. So that's not something which we expect to have. So both energy and environment from a manufacturer's point of view, it should be equally balanced and the importance has to be given for both of it.
Very right, sir. What are your views, Dr. Roshini?
Yeah, as far as equipment is concerned, yes, whatever they say, I mean, Mr. Kulkarni is there in the field. So, of course, we'll all say that these are the good things to be done. But then when it's again that particular system with the controls, we are expecting the controls to behave like a human brain and make things run a proper way. So sometimes you find those control systems are also not working in the Indian scenario. I'm not talking about outside, because in India, we have a tendency of this chalta hai attitude, okay, it's all right. It's you push it away like that. So manufacturer, yes, they pay a lot of attention to energy efficiency and also the environment, because you are an air conditioned system is just removing the heat from inside and throwing it outside. What happens outside, we are not concerned. Just like we sweep and clean our house and throw the garbage out. I am clean, I am good, but I don't care about the environment. So as the manufacturer, of course, we'll do the best job we can. But again, it comes back to my old question about what really happens on the field.
Yes, your question is quite valid. Preethi, would you like to add to it about the priorities?
Yes, so what we have been doing right now, like keeping this energy conservation and going green with green building certifications and so on and so forth in the market today is, like I said, awareness and education. So what we have been doing is in the last 2-3 projects that we have done, yes, the manufacturers are coming out with better products and until and unless it is being conveyed to the client as to how it's better. Now, from a consultant, you get the technical specs, but the occupants, that's the client who's available there, if they are not aware of what has been installed for them. And primarily, we go a step further and get in touch with the maintenance team and give them the brief instructions and education about if you have installed tomorrow's technology. Now, for that to work well for you tomorrow, you need to take care of it in a certain way today. So the importance of maintenance and education of what has been installed is something that we have been pushing as an organization.
Yes, thank you, Preethi. That is quite an interesting part of it. Mr. Aneesh.
No, this everybody talking about maintenance is music to my ears. That's what we do for a living. So yeah, please, Preethi, keep on telling your clients that they should maintain their buildings well. And Dr. Roshini, please keep on telling your customers that they should take up professional services. But yeah, if I were to answer the question about what would I maybe suggest to cooling, I would say system manufacturers, I would say technology is changing very, very fast. And and that's what I'm going to be speaking about. It's a great opportunity and a challenge both. But if you see it as a opportunity, I would recommend to them that get technology into not only your new systems, but because you have all the wherewithal and where the experience that you have, get technologies to make your older legacy systems to be more intelligent and ramp up their efficiencies, because new systems anyway, you'll have lower IKWs and all those things. But there are so many legacy systems, 5 years, 10 years old systems, and you all have the capabilities. So if you can look at coming up with solutions for existing, I would say, systems, not only chillers, but the whole system, that can improve the efficiencies of your own products, I think that will go a long way to minimize our carbon footprint.
Thank you, panelists, for exchanging your valuable thoughts on today's topic, Trends in Energy Efficient HVAC Technologies. We hope you enjoyed the session thoroughly. Before wrapping up today's session, we would like to thank our distinguished panelists, Ms. Preethi Ramamoorthi, Mr. Aneesh Kadyan, Dr. Roshini Easow, and Mr. Achyut R. Kulkarni. I would also like to thank Mr. Gopal Anand for taking this initiative. We want our delegates and viewers to stay connected with us on our social media handles. Thermal Control Magazine is available on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also download our app from Google Play and App Store. With this, we want to announce the closing of today's session. Request you to stay tuned for more such sessions. Thank you and goodbye.